Hello everyone, slightly different video starting off for me today because I wanted to do a little bit of a sort of a reveal. It's not an unboxing as such because I have already opened the package and I did already know what was in the package. A couple of months ago I was lucky enough to be approached by HunkyDory asking if I would like to make something with some of their products and make a blog post to review what I'd been given. I did that, and I also made a video, and since then I've been lucky enough to have some other products sent to me to use in my videos and on my blog to show what could be done with them and how I liked them. And so I was asked again if I would like to choose a few more products. So what I thought is that rather than just having them out on the desk, I would reveal them one by one out of the package. I chose things that I thought would go with what I had already had before. So one of the things that I previously used in one of my videos was these Prism pigment powders, and I had chosen some really vintagey sorts of colours. So we have burgundy, sepia and radiant rose. So they were quite sort of old, sort of metallic-y, vintage, as I said, colours. So I thought it would be quite nice to ask first of all if I would be able to choose, if we pull the right thing out of the package now, some more Prism powders. And this is set number 4, and in this one we have glimmering green, gosh I can't read it in the light, sunshine shimmer and opalescent orange. So we've gone for a green, a yellow and an orange. So I'm going to open them up so you can have a look at what comes through on the bottom. Oh, here we go. We've got, now in the pots they don't look very bright, but you can certainly see the pearlescent sort of side of them. This one's the orange, we have the yellow and we have the green. So it'll be interesting to see when I use them what they actually do once I spritz the water on them onto them. You can use them for so many different techniques, which was why I wanted to try some more, but in a different sort of colour palette. So that's those. I'll put those there. I had to choose a stamp set because stamping is my first sort of love when it comes to crafting, and I went for this mandala style stamp because previously I had chosen this set of stamps called Baroque Backgrounds because it had this sort of corner piece, which I then made into a whole circle for one of my journal pages, which there is a video for on my YouTube channel. So I thought it would be nice to have this one, and I thought this would go nicely with the bright colours, and all of these little pieces here are parts of the main mandala that you can then use to make extra patterns, to make different patterns. You could use them as to build up in a decoupage type style, and I like the fact that HunkyDory always puts some sentiments on their sets as well, so you have everything in one. And because I'd because I'd asked for that stamp set, I decided to go for something a bit different for me from HunkyDory. I know the quality of their stamps, and I've obviously already tried out their powders and inks, but I've never tried their dies. So I went for a set of their Moonstone cutting dies, and I chose this set because again it went very well with my previous selections. The corner of the circle there is actually the same as the corner of the Baroque background stamp. The border is the same as this part of the border here, and I'd previously also chosen butterflies, so I thought having the small butterflies and the flowers with the leaf included would make a great addition as well. So those are my choices that HunkyDory very kindly have sent to me so that I can make a blog post and a video for you, and I hope you carry on watching to see what I did. Bye. So hello once again. When I decided what I was going to make and planning how I was going to put it together, I eventually decided that I would use just the dyes and the prism powders, as otherwise it would be too much busyness going on in my project. So I started by cutting out 4 of the mandala corners, and they cut really nicely. They did require me to turn in my die cutting machine, as I only have a manual machine, and I did have to poke pieces out with a pokey tool, but I think if you've got such a beautiful detailed die, it's worth the effort. Here I decided I wanted to create a sort of circular effect with my powder, so I started in the middle with the opalescent orange, and then around the next part I used the glimmering sunshine, I think it's shimmering, and then finally around the outside of the circle I used the glimmering green. I didn't want it to be a solid colour, so I did leave some areas a little bit white, and this here is a piece of paper that was in my stash, also from HunkyDory. Sorry about the wobbly camera there, I did bump my head on it, from the Beautifully Bright collection. And because the background I chose was also yellow, I wanted my mandala to stand out a little bit, so used some of the black prism ink and the foam blending tool just to edge it so that it would stand out against the black, against the background even. Once it was all stuck down, I used some of the other die cuts. There are 2 different sized flowers, plus the leaves, and 2 different sized butterflies, and I wanted to colour these a bit more solidly, so I used the 3 same pigment powders, plus I also added in a bit of radiant rose because I wanted a contrasting colour to the green, orange and yellow. So I started by spritzing my pieces of card, then sprinkling on my powders. As you'll notice, I've poked holes into the top rather than opening them up, and then I sprayed on some more water and used my brush to blend out the colours. This gives you a more solid effect. I tried not to make it too solid because I still wanted a little bit of that gradation, not sure what the word is, of colour. Now I cut out a circle from my own circle dies that would go on the back of the sentiment from the die set. I started by covering it with the black prism ink, and that stays wet long enough for you to be able to add embossing powder. So I'm adding clear embossing powder. I want it to be quite thick, so eventually I'm going to be adding 3 layers of that. Just have to be a little bit careful, as I discovered, because obviously it does get very hot when you heat it up. Now right at the end I'm just adding a little bit of the, I think it was the yellow powder, and it gives a real lovely gold effect, and just a little sprinkling within the black. After all my flowers were coloured, I then put them together with some glue gel. If you like your flower shaping, you can obviously do a lot more than I did, but I just wanted a little bit of dimension, and I'm adding in some gems from my stash as well. So this is the other die cut from the set that has a lovely just for you sort of cutaway, and that's why I put the black behind it, because I wanted the words to really stand out. So again, I just put the other flowers together, and I'm just putting them all together onto my card. Any links to my social media will be in the description box below, and I will have a blog post that I'm going to do for this card as well, where I'll give more information about how I found the products. And if you're interested in any of the HunkyDory products, I will also add a link to the HunkyDory website in the description box below. Thank you for watching, And if you did enjoy, I'd love it if you could subscribe and like my video as well. Bye bye.